What is going on, everybody? It's the Monroe Message Podcast. This is where I will be discussing kingdom and culture and then trying to figure out how to navigate them and get through them together. First things first, we're going to start off with prayer. Lord, I come to you right now, first of all, lifting you up, God, telling you thank you. You are an amazing God. You are a righteous healer, God. You are holy. You are mighty. God, there's no one above you, no one beside you, God. So right now, I ask that you come and be a part of this, that you be in the midst of these conversations, that you would take my mind, take my heart, take my words, and God, let them reach who it needs to reach. Let it penetrate what it needs to penetrate. Let it go where it needs to go. In Jesus' name, amen. Now we're going to start diving into these topics. The first one today, we will be introducing the topic of honor and respect. This is a personal topic for me. This was actually the first topic on the docket for me because I was dealing with a situation. So. Let me get it together. Listen. The Bible deals with honor and respect a whole lot, but in regular life, we deal with honor and respect a lot, whether in leadership, whether in parenting, whether in different areas, we deal with honor and respect throughout our lives. But I realized when I was talking to one of my friends, I was on the phone and I'm like, yo, I think I have an issue with honor and respect. And they were like, nah, I think you good. And I'm like, nah, because I can outwardly do something, but inwardly I feel like, with certain things. So let me back up again. Let me tell y'all what's going on, what happened. So I give you a couple of different scenarios on what it was. So the first thing, just growing up, me and my mom are a lot alike, and of course that means you're gonna butt heads, you're gonna have your fights and but it was some stuff that she did that it wasn't right, it wasn't good, it wasn't loving, it just wasn't the right move to do. So in that, growing up, I built up a certain way of responding to her, and I was talking to that same friend, and I told them, I think I would say yes to you faster than I would say yes to my mom, which is crazy. When it came out of my mouth, I was like, that's crazy that I would even think like that, but it was the truth. Like I would say yes to certain people before I say yes to my mom, and I said it. I think it was because I seen what she did or felt what she did, and I still see some of the stuff she does now, and that makes me react a certain way. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying everything she did was bad, because the person I am today is partly based on that. The way I was raised, and I had to do certain things, so I had to figure it out. So a part of my personality is I'm going to figure it out. Before I come ask you a question, I'm going to figure it out. P.S. Stop texting and asking for things that you can Google. It takes the same amount of time to type in Google this freaking question that you're asking me. PSA. Google it. Anyways, back to my mom. Bible says, honor thy mother and thy father so that your days may be long. That is the only commandment that comes with promise attached to it. So it's something about honor that needs to happen. And I know at certain points in my life, I was not honoring my mom. I was not. My father's in Jamaica, but I just wasn't honoring my mom. I knew it. And that played a part. But fast forward, while in church, I'm a part of the worship team. So from the beginning, I've been a part of the worship team while I was in church. And you always have leaders, multiple leaders. Sometimes you have a choir leader, you have a praise and worship leader, your pastor is a leader. So you show honor to these leaders. The issue with me is that when something happens or we get into some type of dysfunctional situation, I can bounce back and deal with you, but the part of honor and respect, it doesn't sit right with me. It was correct in what was said, but it wasn't presented the way it was said. So something came back to me, and I was very offended in the way it came back. Let's get it straight. I don't disrespect people. I don't go out of my way and be blatantly mean and nasty to people. That's just not my personality anyway. But I know internally I'm rolling my eyes at certain things. I just realized, like, bruh, I have a problem with honor and respect. And I said, I gotta do a study on it, because with me, if I can see it, if I can touch it, if I can pinpoint where I'm going wrong, then it helps me to get past it. So I was studying the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse number 22. And it says, what is more pleasing to the Lord, your burnt offerings and sacrifices, or your obedience to his voice? Listen, obedience is better than sacrifice, and submission is better than offering the fat of rams. Now, what was going on was Samuel, the prophet, was telling King Saul that you need to listen to the Lord versus what you feel to do is right. So what he did was, the Lord told King Saul to go and kill everything, kill everybody, don't take nothing, burn it all. But what Saul did was took the good stuff, the good cows and the good goat and the good whatever, and he took it, and then he said he would sacrifice it to the Lord as a burnt offering. And when Samuel came, he was like, wait a minute, whoa. The Lord said, destroy all of it, but you kept that. So what do you think was better, to not listen to the Lord or to do what you felt like doing? I'll tell you the things that helped me get over or understand honor and respect a little more. So the first thing I had to do was I had to get out my feelings. I had to get out of my feelings. Our feelings are fickle. Our feelings, they fade, they come, they go. Our feelings can be one way one day and a whole different way the same day, not even the next day. So I had to really get out of my feelings, because being in my feelings made me see things in a whole different way that it might not even been that way. Operating out of your feelings doesn't produce the results, it doesn't always produce the results that you want. Operating out of your feelings can really get you messed up in some ways. You could very well be wrong. You could be wrong in what you feel. Your feelings are not always right. Your feelings are real, but they're not always right. So yes, acknowledge your feelings, but then you got to do the work in order to figure out if your feelings are valid or not. I really, a big part, I had to separate my feelings from following, because I don't feel like it all the time, but that does not have to affect your follow. Following is the instruction. So if I'm a praise team member, my instructions is to be a good follower to the leader. That doesn't mean the leader will always be right. That doesn't mean they will always do the best, make the best decisions. They are human just like I'm human. So I had to get out of my feelings and separate the feelings from the follow, from being instructed to do something versus feeling like doing something. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So I really had to get out of my feelings, and that get out your feelings. Your feelings may be real, but your feelings ain't always right. Then I had to choose not to be offended. All right. Our offense is caused by unmet expectations. But offense still has to be chosen. You still have to choose to be offended because, for example, it can be people and you always wonder why. And like, if that couldn't have been me, if they talked to me like that, I would have, what? We know those people and all they're doing is choosing not to be offended. So if offense comes from unmet expectations, what were you actually expecting? Were your expectations real? Were your expectations unreal? Were your expectations miscommunicated? Because unmet expectations are the catalyst to being offended. So check your expectations. Sometimes what you want ain't even realistic. It's not even possible. It's not even good. But just because you expected it and you didn't even tell nobody, you expected that in your own mind, in your own heart, and that's what it was. I'll tell you, my expectations of what I was coming into and what I wanted from the church was not a conveyed expectation. That was a personal, inward expectation of what I expected from worship leaders or my mom, or what. Most of the time that was an internal thing. My mama never told me that's what it was going to be. The leader never told me that's what it was going to be. Pastor never said that's what it's going to be. This is what I wanted, and this is what I thought I was going to get. And when I did not get that, my feelings was hurt. I was offended, but my expectations were not right. But even if your expectations are right, if your expectations are realistic, your expectations are in a good standing, this still doesn't mean you have to choose to be offended if your expectations are let down. You still have a choice to make. Offense does not help anybody in the situation. When you choose not to be offended, you're going to go to the next level. The last thing that I had to do was I had to choose to forgive. And it sounds so cliche to say, oh yeah, I forgave, but like, do we really forgive? When they say forgive and forget, it's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily real. But when I say, did you forgive? I really mean, did you forgive in order to release it? You can remember what happened and still not be affected by that memory. So did you forgive to let it go? Forgiveness is never about them. It's always about you. When you forgive, you open up the door to your next level, your next chapter, your next move, because unforgiveness holds us back. God does not bless unforgiveness. And literally, he will stop your progress. He will block your progression if you don't get rid of the unforgiveness, because who are you to not forgive somebody when you're forgiven daily for things that you've done, some stuff you don't even know you've done to people, and people let it go, let it slide, let it ride. So who are we to not forgive somebody else? The plan of the enemy is to keep you stuck. So God does not honor unforgiveness. So if the devil can keep you in unforgiveness, he can keep you stuck. He can keep you right where you're at. And God, his hands are kind of tied when you don't want to forgive, because it say forgive and you will be forgiven. So it's a call and response. You forgive and you will be forgiven. God already forgave us, but when we operate in unforgiveness, it's almost like we putting Jesus back on the cross. Forgive people, let it go. Jesus on the cross said, forgive them for they know not what they do. Sometimes these niggas don't even know what they doing. Sometimes you got to look and say, man, if only you knew. If you knew. Forgiving also takes the pressure off of you and puts it back on God to change the situation or change the person's heart, change the circumstances. Once again, if you're in unforgiveness, you're handcuffing God. He's not going to move in unforgiveness. So if you forgive for real and you let it go, God is obligated to come in and take care of the situation. Most of the time, God will step in and he'll either repair the relationship that you have or the situation that's going on, or he'll remove you from it. Once you stop operating in unforgiveness, you got to forgive and let it go in order to free God's hand to move how he needs to move in the situation on your behalf. So that is my Sunday sermon. That is my message for today. The Monroe message is about honor and about respect. Episodes won't be that long. I told you 20 minutes max. I will catch y'all on the next one. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Make sure to go get that journal, Word and Worship Guided Devotional Journal. I'm going to plug this probably another 50 times, probably until I write the next one. But go ahead, get that journal. Work on yourself. The journal will help you work on yourself. Forgiving others, forgiving yourself, offense. It's all in the book. It's all right here. Holding on to hurt. Crippling characteristics. Come on, I'm not gonna give it all away. Go get the book, $13 on Amazon. All right, I'll see y'all next time.